Itachi Uchiha, the brother's burden. Naruto. When we first meet Itachi, he seems like a cold-blooded villain, the man who massacred his entire clan, including his parents. To fans, he was the ultimate villain in Sasuke's life, but the truth is far more heartbreaking. Itachi was born a prodigy, destined to be great, but greatness came with a burden. From a young age, he witnessed the horrors of war and grew up valuing peace above all else. He loved his family, but he loved his younger brother Sasuke most of all. When the Uchiha clan plotted a coup against the Hidden Leaf, Itachi was faced with an impossible choice: support his clan and plunge the village into war, or wipe out his own family to prevent bloodshed. Ordered by the higher-ups, Itachi made the sacrifice no child should ever have to make. He slaughtered everyone he loved, sparing only his brother. Branded a traitor and a criminal, Itachi carried the hatred of the world on his shoulders, all while secretly working in the shadows to protect his brother and his village. His life was one of pain, sacrifice, and secrecy, a tragedy revealed only after his death. Levi Ackerman, humanity's loneliest attack on Titan. Levi Ackerman is known as humanity's strongest soldier, but behind his unmatched strength lies one of the bleakest lives in anime. Born in the underground city, Levi was the son of a prostitute, and grew up in filth and poverty. His mother died when he was very young, leaving him to starve. He was eventually taken in by his uncle, Kenny Ackerman, who taught him how to fight, not out of love, but because he saw Levi as a tool. Levi grew up learning violence as a way of survival. He never had friends, family, or comfort, and as he became humanity's strongest soldier, his curse followed him. Every person he grew close to, his squad members, comrades, even his mentor Erwin, died before his eyes. Levi's tragedy isn't in a single event, it's in the repetition. He fights, protects, loses, and fights again, carrying humanity's hope while losing everyone who made him human. He is strength born out of endless loneliness. Guts, the Black Swordsman. Berserk. Few anime characters suffer more than Guts. His life is a tragedy from the very moment of his birth. Born from the corpse of his hanged mother, Guts was raised in a mercenary band, where he was treated as nothing more than a weapon. As a child, he endured brutal abuse, both physical and emotional. He grew up only knowing violence, fighting to survive day by day. But just when he found light, friendship with Griffith and love with Casca, it was stolen from him during the eclipse. Griffith sacrificed the Band of the Hawk to the God Hand, leading to the infamous massacre. Guts watched his comrades be slaughtered and Casca violated before his eyes. Surviving the eclipse didn't free him, it cursed him. Guts became the struggler, a man fighting demons both literal and internal, haunted by trauma, rage, and vengeance. His entire life is a cycle of suffering, with moments of hope constantly crushed. Guts' tragedy is a tale of survival against a cruel fate, one of anime's darkest and most unforgettable stories. Nagato Pain, the child of war. Nagato, known later as Pain, was born in the Hidden Reign, a land torn apart by endless wars between larger nations. His childhood was defined by suffering. He watched his parents die right in front of him, killed by enemy shinobi. Alone and starving, Nagato struggled to survive in the ruins of a battlefield. But he wasn't alone for long. He met Conan and Yahiko, and together they dreamed of creating peace. With Yahiko's leadership, they formed a group dedicated to ending war. For the first time, Nagato had hope. But that hope was destroyed when Yahiko was manipulated into sacrificing his life. Consumed by grief and anger, Nagato abandoned his ideals and became Pain. He believed peace could only be achieved through fear, by forcing the world to feel the same suffering he endured. Nagato's story is the cycle of hatred embodied. A child who only wanted peace, turned into a villain because the world gave him nothing but pain. Hyakimaru, born without humanity. Dororo. Hyakimaru's story is one of the most tragic origins in anime. Before he was even born, his father, a lord hungry for power, made a pact with demons. In exchange for prosperity, he offered his unborn son's body. Hyakimaru was born without eyes, ears, skin, limbs, his humanity stripped away, cast away like trash. He was raised with prosthetic limbs and swords for arms, forced to fight demons to regain what was stolen from him. His journey is one of unimaginable loneliness. He cannot see, cannot hear, cannot feel like others, and yet, despite being abandoned by his family, he struggles to reclaim his humanity piece by piece. Hyakimaru is a tragic hero not because of what he lost, but because of the strength it takes to continue searching for what was taken from him. Lucy, the monster created by Cruelty Elfen Lied. Lucy, the Declonius girl from Elfen Lied, is one of the most tragic examples of how cruelty creates monsters. As a child, Lucy was bullied and tormented for being different. She was beaten, mocked, and treated like a freak. Her only comfort came from a puppy she secretly cared for, until her bullies killed it right in front of her. That moment broke her. From then on, Lucy's life spiraled into violence. With her deadly vectors, she slaughtered those who hurt her, and soon her humanity was buried under years of blood and pain. But deep down, Lucy was always the same little girl who just wanted kindness. Her tragedy lies in what could have been. If she had been shown love instead of cruelty, she might never have become the monster the world feared. Miram, the king who found humanity, Hunter x Hunter. Miram, the Chimera Ant King, was born as the embodiment of perfection, a ruthless predator designed to rule. At first, he saw humans as nothing more than food, but his encounter with a frail human girl, Komugi, changed everything. Through their bond, Miram discovered kindness, humility, and the meaning of life beyond power. He began to question his existence, torn between his identity as a king and his newfound humanity. But just as he found his heart, fate was cruel. Miram was poisoned in his battle with Netero, and his time was cut short. His last moments were spent with Komugi, the one person who saw him not as a monster, but as a person. Miram's tragedy isn't that he died, it's that he died just as he learned what it meant to live. Owen Smith, the leader who carried Hope Attack on Titan. Owen Smith was humanity's greatest commander, a man who inspired countless soldiers to march into certain death. But behind his strength was a tragedy that defined him. As a boy, Owen learned a terrible truth from his father, that the history of humanity was being suppressed by the king. When his father was killed for spreading this knowledge, Owen was left with guilt, believing he was the cause. From then on, Owen dedicated his life to uncovering the truth, leading soldiers into battle not just for humanity's survival, but for his own dream. His greatest tragedy is that his pursuit of knowledge cost countless lives, and he carried that guilt until the end. In his final moments, Owen chose not to see the basement, not to realize his dream, but to sacrifice himself so that the next generation could carry on. His tragedy was dying without the answers he sought, even as he gave hope to humanity. Thorfinn, the lost child of war. Vinland Saga. Thorfinn's life was stolen by violence. As a boy, he grew up listening to stories of Vinland, a land of peace. But his father, Thors, was killed in battle, and Thorfinn's innocence was shattered. Consumed by rage, Thorfinn dedicated his life to revenge, serving under the very man who killed his father, waiting for the chance to duel him. Years passed, and Thorfinn's life became an endless cycle of blood and hate. But when his revenge was stolen from him, Thorfinn was left with nothing, no purpose, no identity. He was forced to confront the emptiness of a life consumed by hatred. Thorfinn's tragedy is that he never got to live the childhood he deserved. His story is a painful exploration of how war robs children of their innocence. Akaza, the demon who never let go of his humanity. Demon Slayer. Akaza may be a ruthless upper moon demon, but his backstory is one of the saddest in Demon Slayer. As a human named Hakuji, he grew up in poverty, caring for his sick father. Desperate, he turned to crime to pay for medicine, only for his father to take his own life out of guilt. Stripped of purpose, Hakuji found hope when he met Kizo, a dojo master who gave him a home, and Koyuki Kazo's daughter, who showed him love. For the first time, Hakuji had a family. But tragedy struck again. Kizo and Koyuki were poisoned. Taken from him, Hakuji's grief turned into rage, leading him down the path that would eventually make him a demon. Even as Akaza, though, his humanity lingered. He respected strong opponents, hated cowards, and carried his past within him. His tragedy is a cycle of love and loss, doomed to repeat for eternity.